Um, you're a collaborator with a Democrat Party with a Democrat Party. Yes, I am. I'm a shepherd of the Democratic Party, but also simultaneously single-handedly tanked the election for Kamala. I know. Um, what I was saying, what I've said already is that there's a lot of people who are pro-Israel who at least like recognize they read the room well enough to just shut the fuck up, and I guess he chose to do that this time.
Expelled from Colombia. There are people who lost their immigration status for standing pro-Palestine, not pro-Israel. There's not a single Israeli who, because of his stand from being pro-Israel, who lost their job, got deported, have being blacklisted with the company, being doxxed. This is what happened on their side. And many of those, and the Jewish people who actually got hurt were the people on the pro-Palestinian side. There are like Jewish professors who lost their position because they stood with the pro-Palestinian side. But they don't talk to you about that. They want you to think it is Jewish people against everybody else. They don't talk to you about the Jewish Voices for Peace, the people who their slogan is "Not in my name." We will not allow Israel to use our name in order to continue with this genocide. They are not telling you about the Israeli blog that was in all of the university protests or in all of the protests in London and in Paris and in New York. They want to, again, the same image that they were created in Israel, the way that they use that propaganda in order to blind you of what's happening. They're not telling you about the other side. So they keep putting you in that box. It is Jewish people against everybody else. It is not true.
Talking about patterns, like you said earlier, some of the documents you sent us that I found interesting was just the history dating back of how long Israel has been influencing America's government.
Yes.
Can you talk to us about some of that?
Yeah, well, it's you have a lobby group called APAC, which should under American law be registered as a foreign entity, a foreign lobby group, but it's not, and because of its mention, it is registered as local.
The best part about podcasters like this is when they have someone who is aligned with the cause on board, because these guys are not going to craft like anything cynical here to try to force Bassem Youssef into a well, why do you align with Hamas style position, or try to trap him into something that he doesn't believe, forcing him to like concede on a position that he doesn't actually believe so that they can endlessly smear him. That is definitely one of the best aspects of podcasts like this. That's part of the reason why when they have Benjamin Netanyahu on, he gets to just do mincemeat. Okay? But yeah, it's been 33 minutes and 46 seconds. No, do you condemn Hamas questions have come. No, do you, why do you want to kill all the Jewish people? None of that.
It is allowed to raise so much money and act as a local lobbying group, right? And because of that, they are allowed to openly pay all of these politicians in order to write bills and to pass laws to protect Israel more than they protect the United States, right? And people will say, this is conspiracy theory. Are you telling us that Israel is controlling America? It's not really a conspiracy theory, because if you think about it, a country is run by a government and government is run by people. And if you buy enough people, you control the government. Am I right?
Yeah, for sure.
Am I right?
I mean, if not just Israel, if any government was doing that, it would be a problem,
yeah.
right?
I mean, and I send you even a video of like American senators and congressmen having the Israeli flag outside of their room. They are tweeting, I stand with Israel, while there are people suffering.
No, the funniest was, what was it? The funniest was when Ireland was working through the process of potentially doing a BDS or something, and then every single American congressman in unison started talking about Irish trade policy. That was such a fucking funny moment. Does anyone have that tweet of like all of the American Congress folk from both parties just talking about like Irish trade policy out of nowhere. Okay, it was fucking hilarious, dude. They were all. It was not. No. It was hundreds of tweets. That was the same tweet. Hundreds of different lobbyists and politicians in unison tweeted out the same fucking tweet, like literal copy paste. It was hilarious. It was so stupid. It's like, what is going on? This is so, like, what? What do you mean? Oh, here it is. Ireland's proposed BDS policy is deeply troubling and risks damaging trade with American companies. Israel's a key ally to the U.S. Ireland's proposal to boycott, divest, and sanction Israel is blatantly anti-Semitic and will hurt American companies too. Ireland's draft BDS law is reckless and dangerous precedent. Ireland's proposed ban of Jewish-made products is nothing short of anti-Semitic. Lindsey Graham, I hope Ireland will reconsider their efforts economically to isolate Israel as they are... what? I don't know what the rest of this is. Ireland's proposal to ban products made in Judea and Samaria wrongfully targets Israel and hurts American businesses. Ireland's proposed legislation targets Jewish communities by singling out settlements tied to Israel. Yeah, day 2. I love this. I love when he posted this. Yeah, it was this guy that posted it originally. Wow, I love to see all this organic passion for Irish trade policy in the United States Congress. Day 2 of members of Congress completely independently deciding that they are highly concerned about Irish trade policy vis-a-vis the West Bank. It's like, I mean, come on, dude. What are we doing? What are we doing here? What an organic movement.
If they don't, they will actually fuck. What the fuck are you doing, right? Because this is the army, right? You're not allowed to just like post shit other than actually the army.
Steiny body language analysis, cock shame. That's what he's doing. You see that? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, I have an opinion, but he should have definitely spoken on this, because I know his fan base is gonna fucking eat his ass and be like, "Dog, you didn't say a single damn word. It's 31 minutes in."
Kind of approving to it. So it is by design. I asked a professor in London, it's like, why are they actually...
Yeah, I saw the comments. Everyone is like, Steiny's not saying anything. Never seen silence speak so loud. Steiny is still clearly speechless after hearing Netanyahu prefers Burger King. Did you expect anything different? Yeah, I did. I thought he'd be a little bit more active in the conversation, even if it's to like disagree with Bassem Youssef. You know what I mean? I did.
Doing that on purpose. Like, it's very easy because it is much easier for Israel to be hated and then having them conflate that hate with Jewish people. And when that happens, like, you see, anti-Semitism, give us more money to kill our enemies. You understand? Mm-hmm. It's like it's a very, very sick psychology. And the people who are paying for this are Jewish people, right? Because now you are finding yourself inheriting everything that this regime is doing, right? And it is the whole idea about like being a Jewish person is being pro-Israel. It's crazy, right? You know, like a couple of days ago, Trump pushed Colombia to pay $21 million for support the Jewish people for the psychological trauma. And it really it's crazy because we haven't heard of Jewish people being
Here's one of those blind spots of yours you were talking about earlier. What's my blind spot? What's the blind spot? Go ahead, say it out loud, chatter. What's my blind spot? Enlighten me. Is my blind spot that I'm not sufficiently pro-Palestine? I can't recognize when someone is pro-Israel. I literally said I thought he would have said something even to disagree, if you noticed. Also, my conversation with Steiny made it seem like he was far more receptive to the pro-Palestinian position than what that Benjamin Netanyahu interview looked like, and certainly this here. But I think he's doing the thing that I have said over and over again at this point, which is that all the alien stuff is just like used as a distraction for the government, and many of you are coping because you're eating that bait hook, line, and sinker. That's it.
I would definitely go after somebody to see what's going on. Just if for no other reason than, again, maybe it's a opportunity.
See,
there,
look, no, it's not, dude. Worst take. No, it's not. I know. I'm fake. I'm phony. I'm fake. Of course I want to clap alien cheeks. Of course I do. Okay. But let's be real. I don't think the fucking American federal government is ever going to reveal that shit to you. Okay. They're just straightforwardly drip feeding bits and pieces of fake bullshit to get you to pay attention to it because you do. Look at how excited people get.
It's the easiest connect the dots puzzle of all time.
Yeah.
You got rich, powerful people and hot chicks and probably drugs and cameras.
Yeah. And I tell you, the Russians love nothing better than, the truth.
By the way, I will say this once again. Anytime a former intelligence member points the finger at China, sometimes they do it at Russia too, or Iran, especially China and Iran, just know that these guys are they're not invested in uncovering America's involvement in anything. Come on.
The reality is, in terms of recruiting an asset by using blackmail is tough, right? You gotta that window starts closing immediately, right? In terms of their operational usefulness, right? Because there's a lot of issues there, right? You're blackmailing somebody for their cooperation. At some point, that's going to go south on you, right? It's not like you've recruited somebody for ideological reasons, right? Or even something as straightforward as like they need the money because their kid's sick or whatever it may be. So blackmail's like, but having said that, look, the Russians in particular love that, right? And Chinese intel, they'll do whatever works from their perspective. The agency, again, people are going to say that's bullshit. The agency tries, the blackmail is never really ever on the table as an option because it always leads to a problem. And
what? That is the biggest bullshit. Oh my God. Oh my God. That is crazy. Oh, dude, notoriously, we don't do any blackmail in tradecraft because it's just it's ineffective. Just don't look at that. Don't look at, nah. We just don't ever do. Nobody ever does blackmail, okay? Especially not Israel. And certainly not just CIA. It's frowned upon. Yeah. The CIA never does blackmail, Joe. They just use criminals instead. That's always funny because, all of the assets are literally blackmailed by the criminal justice system, technically. What do you mean? What's a confidential informant? Every CI is getting a deal. It's so funny to be like, oh, dude, yeah, blackmailed people are famously unreliable. It's like, no, they're not. They're actually the most common way that people fucking utilize both law enforcement and also certainly federal law enforcement most commonly utilizes fucking blackmail by dangling people's criminal convictions in front of them.
And sometimes those problems can be very, very bad. In terms of
in what way? What do you mean?
Well, the asset will turn on you, right? Next thing you know, you've got an agent working now, a double agent working for the other side, right? Because they're so fucked over by the fact that they've been blackmailed. And at some point, they lose their shit. They decide to roll for the other side.
But aren't you like constantly monitoring them and looking at their phone?
There's only so much. No, not really. There's only so much.
Bro, even Joe doesn't believe it. Look at his face.
Next thing you know, because they're so fucked over by the fact that they've been blackmailed. And at some point, they lose their shit. They decide to roll for the other side.
But aren't you like constantly?
Even Joe doesn't believe it. Look at him. He's like, what do you mean? Isn't there a way to constantly surveil your confidential informants, your assets, to ensure that they don't turn on you? Huh.
Monitoring them and looking at their phone.
There's only so much. No, not really. There's only so much you can do, right? In terms of maintaining, particularly with a hard target, particularly with an asset who's in a difficult or challenging environment, for us, and you've got limited access to them, whatever it may be. So you're really relying on clandestine communications. You don't have a lot of face-to-face meetings.
This is literally the CIA going on the Joe Rogan Experience because the FBI fucked up so hard with Kash Patel. Like, this guy is a little bit better than Kash Patel. He's at least like charismatic enough to sound convincing. But this is straight up no different than the Kash Patel interview. The only difference is like he's at least like persuasive enough. You know what I mean? He's like a little bit more confident and a little bit calmer and doesn't look like an untrustworthy person like Kash Patel does because he's always like got his eyes fucking open like this. This is crazy. He just said the CIA doesn't do blackmail. It's just a bad idea.
And at some point, you never know when things are heading south, right? And then the next thing you know, look, that. So that's the operational reason for trying to avoid blackmail, right? Has it ever been done? Well, sure, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it hasn't been done,
of course,
but some.
I think he's saying it's not the best way. Blackmail is just one way. He literally just said the most common technique that the CIA and all members of law enforcement, from police all the way to fucking federal law enforcement, use is actually not that common because it's unsustainable. What are you talking about? I just described to you the most common way that you get confidential informants. What is that? That's also kind of like blackmail. It's the exact same principle. Blackmail is basically the process that you engage in if you don't put someone through any sort of criminal charges. It's the same type of coercion.
Services go to it much quicker than others do. Yeah.
And which services?
And I would, well, again, the Russians are primary users of something like that. They've got a shotgun approach. Yeah, Israelis have been known to do that in the honeypot operations that they'll do and other things. But the Russians throw a lot of shit at the wall and see what sticks. Right? It's very much a shotgun approach. Right? And honestly, sometimes that can work. Right?
Wasn't that kind of?
Bro talked so much about how the CIA doesn't use blackmail, or it's not the most common tool in the tool belt. Then said it's got to be Russia. He keeps implying that it's Russia and China.
If you thought about this island, if you're bringing award-winning scientists, famous people, politicians, world leaders, all to one place. You're basically throwing as much shit against the wall as you can.
Yeah.
And then you have all this stuff on all these different people, and they know it. And so then you just kind of like, wasn't there like some CEO that had to step down because he wound up giving Epstein, it was found out that he gave Epstein like $150 million that they couldn't explain why?
Well, okay.
Wasn't that the case, Jamie? So it's one of those things where there's obviously value in having all these people on your side.
Yeah.
But when you do get all this information on these people, like what are they trying to accomplish with it? This is the question. Are they trying to get support for Apollo CEO to step down after firm finds more payments to Jeffrey Epstein? $158 million. He paid the convicted sex offender $158 million.
What does it? If you can you scroll down a little bit, Jamie?
Yeah. He's planning to step down as chief. I've advised the Apollo board that I will retire as CEO before my 70th birthday in July. Remain as chairman. Oh, he's going to remain as a chairman. New York Times detailed at least $75 million in payments and found that Mr. Black had paid Epstein $158 million in a 5-year period ending in 2017. He also lent Mr. Epstein more than $30 million, only $10 million of which he was paid back. Wow. So that's a guy that they got something on him.
I love this. Leon viewed.
The implication here is that blackmail doesn't work that well. And that's why the CIA doesn't use it. So don't look there, Joe. But maybe blackmail, because it doesn't work that well, a shittier intelligence agency like the Russians or the Chinese could potentially use it. Okay? Perfect narrative. Except it is one that is so insane and so contradictory to like everything that anyone who's even remotely interested in conspiracy theories is aware of, that even Joe Rogan, a baboon, is looking at this and being like, I don't think that's the case, man. Like, I think the CIA does use blackmail, regardless of what you're saying. Now, will it actually reach a level of scrutiny from Joe that he actually starts questioning Mike Baker? Probably not. But, you know, this is basically like, this is basically like asking Ghislaine Maxwell. You might as well ask Ghislaine Maxwell or ask Kash Patel again about what Jeffrey Epstein's like intelligence associations look like, or why the administration is not releasing any serious information from the files.
Epstein as a confirmed bachelor with eclectic tastes. This was after his 2008 guilty plea.
Yeah.
Wow.
Christ.
Mr. Epstein's advice was worth perhaps $2 billion in tax savings to Mr. Black, according to the report.
Right.
What the
But this
He's
is
like,
again,
wow, I had no idea. I certainly am not familiar with my agency's work on this. I mean, sorry, the Chinese agency's work on this, because it must be a Chinese operation, not an American one, Joe. And the reason why Trump's not releasing this information is because it's bad messaging. He really wanted to. He's just having a hard time with it, Joe. Please. Wow, whatever this is all new information to me, Joe. Don't know about it.
And this is what Weinstein said. Eric said that there's like, this guy is not, he's not good. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Like he wasn't a good financial advisor.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is you can say, okay, why was he collecting people around him? Why was he doing? I mean, was he keeping a file? Right, you still have to figure out what that file looks like. Part of it could have been initially self-preservation. right? I mean, he's engaged in all sorts of activity. He gets a few people into it, then suddenly, he doesn't look so bad, right? And he's kind of protecting himself because now I'm surrounded by people who also have to keep that secret, right? So, but then the question becomes,
okay. Now we've moved on to an even more insane piece of speculation. He was just blackmailing powerful people for his own sake. That's cool. That's the third speculation. So he went with Chinese, Russian, and now maybe he was just doing it for the love of the game. Okay.
is at what point is he or somebody in his little tight circle there, are they approached, right, by anybody who's interested in some of these folks? But we don't know because we don't know who the fuck's in these files, right? So,
or if the files even exist.
If the files even exist, and apparently, there's nothing in there according to Pam Bondi.
And Cash Patel. The whole thing's nuts.
Yeah.
And then, have Bongino and Cash Patel saying he definitely killed himself. Like, what?
Yeah.
What? Okay, this just, the level of convenience. It's so convenient that the guards were asleep. So convenient that the cameras didn't work. So convenient that years later you have a recording of the outside of the cell, but a minute is missing from it.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
3 minutes?
Yeah, they found out it was like almost 3 minutes was missing. 2 minutes, like 53
It's
seconds.
like the missing Watergate tape.
Oh, I thought it was just
It
1 minute.
It did. It started off as a minute, and then
Yeah.
people kept looking in the metadata, and like, okay, it was saved this many times, and it was actually up to 3 minutes missing.
God. Okay.
That's plenty of time to kill somebody. 3 minutes is more than enough time.
3 minutes, you could get a whole bunch of people killed by then.
Come on, man. Anyway, we're gonna continue with the Jeffrey Epstein saga, Network of Depravity by Jabri, part 1. We're gonna finish the part 1 now.
4 years later, a new French investigation was launched into the disgraced modeling agent.
This part uncovers Jean-Luc Brunel, Jeffrey Epstein affiliate, who died under mysterious circumstances, ran a modeling agency.
In December 2020, Brunel was finally arrested, taken into custody on charges of rape, sexual assault against minors, sexual harassment, criminal conspiracy, and trafficking human beings. While awaiting trial in February 2022, the 76-year-old Brunel was found hanging in his prison cell, dead.
He died exactly the same way Jeffrey Epstein did as well, and also that he wasn't necessarily on suicide watch facing these charges.
Yasmin, these parallels are so striking.
Another coincidence.
Virginia saw a lot of famous people during her time with Epstein, one being Les Wexner, who she said she had sex with possibly more than 5 times, according to unsealed court documents. Some additional names Virginia mentioned were MIT professor Marvin Minsky, who she says had sex with her on Little St. James Island, billionaire Tom Pritzker, and of course Simpsons creator Matt Groening, who she claims to have given a foot massage during a flight to Los Angeles, recounting how she almost threw up at the shape of his feet. Writing in her memoir, he had yellow, crusty toenails that even someone with a chainsaw would have had troubles cutting through. And then there was the fluffy balls of leftover pieces of sock wedged between the crevices of his sweaty toes. In return, he allegedly compensated her with a drawing of Homer and Bart Simpson made out to her brother and father. Amidst the vast sea of names implicated by Virginia, however, there was one very notable person that stood out among the rest.
I don't really know why you like to defend these high-profile clients. Do you regret it at all? And did you ever see anything untoward about Mr. Epstein?
Alan Dershowitz is a criminal defense attorney who has spent much of his life teaching at Harvard in between representing the most controversial figures he could find. He began his career defending 3 far-right terrorists accused of planting a bomb in the Manhattan office of Imprizio Saul Hurok, successfully getting them off before helping to get another certified good guy off the hook a couple years later. For those of you listening right now, I can't see the screen, it's O.J. Simpson. He was O.J. Simpson's lawyer in 1995, and would go on to provide his services for Mike Tyson during his rape case, Donald Trump during his first impeachment, where he argued it's not illegal for Trump to bribe the Ukrainian president, and was also Harvey Weinstein's lawyer, despite insisting on the view what a big supporter of the Me Too movement he was. In his 6 decades of being a public figure, Dershowitz is also
He is the fucking, he is the number one guy at getting totally evil people off. It's crazy. He's the ultimate bad guy defender.
Also argued in favor of torture during the Iraq War, wrote about lowering the legal age of consent to 16, went to extreme lengths to deny tenure for pro-Palestinian professor Norm Finkelstein after a heated debate the two of them had on Israel, and is actually set to defend the state of Israel against allegations of war crimes at the International Court of Justice sometime in the near future. And of course, he was also the lawyer of Jeffrey Epstein, of whom he considered at one point to be a good friend. In fact, when asked if he'd still be close to Epstein in the event the financier could no longer afford legal counsel in 2003, Dershowitz replied, "Absolutely. I would be as interested in him as a friend if we had hamburgers on the boardwalk in Coney Island and talked about his ideas." What ideas? When he was writing his book, he told Vicky Ward that the only person he'd send drafts to outside of his immediate family was Jeffrey Epstein. Ward also notes that Dershowitz was thrilled to meet none other than Prince Andrew at Epstein's Manhattan residence one time, even letting the prince hang out in the back of his lectures.
I'm thrilled that all these papers have come out. I urged them. I went to court. I asked for everything to come out because I knew that I had done nothing wrong and the papers would exculpate me. I want to make sure every single document comes out. The public has the right to see everything.
Virginia Giuffre first accused Alan Dershowitz of sexual abuse in a 2014 sworn affidavit, claiming under oath that she was forced to have sex with the professor on at least
Yes.